Watch and listen at riotradio.ca.
In all honesty, I had a job as a tour guide in Riot, France. As I was living in France, I lived there for about 9 months, and all the French guys were doing their mandatory military service. It was back in 1998, and I thought that was a great thing. So when I moved back to Canada, first thing I did was go to a recruiting center and joined up. And that basically got my foot in the door. I did basic training, and then I decided to go back to school since the military would be footing the bill. And I got my master's degree at the military college, and then went full-time military, specifically with the Canadian Navy. Growing up, I always liked everything that had to do with the military. Both grandfathers and all my great-grandfathers had served. I never really had any friends that were in the forces, but then moving to Europe and just seeing, like, you know, you turned 18 and that's what everyone did in Germany or in Norway or in France as a citizen. You did your military service. And that was probably the bigger driver. And the fact that I was able to do it. I had a job that allowed me to actually do the part-time military thing as a reservist. Since joining, I finished my Navy training, so I'm a watchkeeper, a Mars officer. That means I can drive a warship, and the captain can feel safe in his cabin while I take care of things on the bridge. I did that for about 4 years. Then we weren't sailing a lot, and Afghanistan was going, and through no real intention of my own, I started doing a few specialty courses, and with each course I did and I passed, next thing I knew, I was, stepping off of a plane at Kandahar airfield in southern Afghanistan. The main memory is hot. It was really hot. Like, I had my buddies had given me a little thermometer for my combat shirt, and I remember the worst day, it was 54 degrees Celsius inside the air-conditioned vehicle. So that's one of my main memories of that place. And just being overwhelmed. I mean, there was jet fighters taking off, helicopters coming in, troops all around, and the base was huge. I mean, looking at 20,000 military people all at one airport. So that's my main memories of that day. People rocketed us a lot. I remember that, when I first got there, we were getting rocketed probably 4 or 5 times a day, every day. And at first it was sort of scary, but then if it wasn't landing closer than 25 meters to you, then you might as well be landing back in Canada. So, and probably part of it, the surrealness, because I used to go outside the wire, off base, and you know, you'd see just absolute poverty. You know, people that are worrying about where their meal in 2 days' time is going to come from. They have nothing, and then you'd return to base that night and there's Pizza Hut and Subway, and you know, I can go to a movie, and it was just the dichotomy of it was just unnerving and overwhelming. That's why I tended to try and stay outside of the base as much as possible. The recruiting website actually has a lot of good quality stuff on there. There's a Army blog that actually, there's a lot of people that are very active in that. So if you want to get the inside scoop, you can become a member there and talk to real guys doing the job. And then, you know, God bless the recruiters, but they've got a job to do. So if you want to hear the real info, then you may want to talk to an actual military member. At the very least, they can give you most of your answers, and at the most, they could probably hook you up with someone who does that job that you're looking at in the military. And that's your best bet, a face-to-face meeting, you know, over a coffee, with regards to what it is you might be choosing as a career. There's a number. One of them's being in the Navy and the sun coming up, and I'd done a few favors for some of the crew, and they brought me up a coffee and a croissant. And I was off the coast of Newfoundland, and you know, my training was complete, and I was thinking, wow, I'm driving a warship, you know, sipping a coffee, eating a croissant. Life is good. The other one was probably Afghanistan for me. I mean, there's a lot of bad memories there, but my second go there was almost 11 months in length. So I was able to start projects, and like the entire team, we were able to start stuff, see it progress, finish it, and start again and learn. So in some instances, we did as many as 6 iterations for training the Afghan National Army and for training locals. We had a really successful small engine repair program, because scooters are one of the main modes of transportation. And by teaching the young Afghan males how to be mechanics, they got a profession that pays better than the insurgency was paying them. And it's an honest job, which is what they were all looking for. So those memories, very positive personally. And yeah, and some of the friendships, because I'm still in contact with those Afghans that do have internet access and do have a cell phone. So it's a great profession. It gives you direction, guidance, discipline. In reality, in a lot of ways, it sets you up for success, even if you only stay in for 2 years, 4 years, 6 years. You know, an employer that looks at that, I mean, they know that they're getting a quality worker, for the most part. In Canada, it's solid pay. We're one of the best paying militaries in the world. Although there are times when I think to myself, yeah, I should be getting a lot more money, or just why am I even out here? But by the end of the day, as you saw today, I mean, I love what I do. I couldn't imagine being behind a desk all the time. You know, last week we spent an entire day at the gun range shooting rifles and pistols. That's not an everyday job.